Most people think life in Canada is more expensive. Others swear the US burns through your wallet way faster. So, which one's actually worth your money? I ran the numbers. I talked to people living on both sides, and what I found surprised even me. Because here's the truth: one country gives you more freedom, the other gives you more peace of mind. But almost no one talks about how that plays out in real life. So let's break it down: housing, groceries, healthcare, and more in plain, honest terms. And by the end, you'll know exactly which country wins for your lifestyle. Let's start with the biggest one: rent in New York City. You're paying over 3 grand for a one-bedroom Toronto. Same thing. In fact, big cities in both countries are brutal if you're living alone. But here's where it gets interesting. In the US, if you leave the cities, your rent can drop fast. Think 200 for a decent apartment in Texas or Ohio. In Canada, it drops too, but not as fast. Places like Calgary or Winnipeg are cheaper than Toronto. Sure, but not that much cheaper. And here's something most people miss: utilities. In Canada, heating and water are often included in rent. In the US, not so much. And if you're in a cold state, winter bills can hurt. So who wins? If you're living in a big city, it's a tie. But in smaller cities, the US gives you more space for less money. You ever walk into a grocery store and think, wait, why is cheese this expensive? Welcome to Canada. Groceries here cost more. Not just a little, we're talking 20–40% more on basics. A jug of milk, 6 Canadian. Same jug in the US, 3 or less. Chicken, eggs, bread, all cheaper in the States. Why? More farms, more competition, more imports. In Canada, you're paying for quality. And a smaller market. Here's the twist: groceries in Canada aren't taxed. That helps, but still, if you've got a big family or a tight budget, the US wins this round. Let's talk gas. In the US, gas is cheaper. Simple. Even after currency conversion, Canadians pay nearly double per liter. Why? Taxes, but here's where it gets more interesting: public transit. Toronto's subway system is clean, reliable, and mostly safe. Same with Vancouver, but it's also expensive. $3.35 per ride adds up fast. In the US, some cities like NYC have cheaper fares, but quality, hit or miss. So if you own a car, the US saves you money. If you rely on transit, Canada gives you a smoother ride for a price. This next part might sound obvious, but most people still don't get it. Yes, Canada has free healthcare, but what that actually means is you don't pay out of pocket. When you go to the doctor, you don't get a surprise 800 bill after a 10-minute visit. In the US, it's complicated even with insurance. You could still owe hundreds or thousands if something goes wrong. But, and this is a big but in the US, if you have great insurance, you get faster service, shorter wait times, more choice. In Canada, you'll wait, sometimes for weeks, sometimes months. So here's the trade-off: Canada gives you peace of mind. The US gives you speed if you can afford it. Which one's better? That depends on your health and your wallet, okay? Now let's talk about phone plans. Canada is the most expensive country in the world for mobile data, not exaggerating. A 10 gigabyte plan here, 75 or more in the US. You can get the same thing for 30 internets. The same story. Canada slower, more expensive. The US faster, cheaper usually. Why does this matter? Because in 2025, your internet bill is basically your lifeline. So yeah, the US wins here, hands down. Grabbing a coffee, ordering Uber Eats, going out with friends. This is where things feel real in the US. Food is cheaper and bigger. Now it gets you a full fast food meal. In Canada, more like 14 restaurant prices. Similar, but tipping expectations are creeping up in both countries around 18–20%. Want to subscribe to Netflix? Almost identical pricing. Want to join a gym? Again, similar. unless you're in a major city. So overall, if you eat out a lot or live for DoorDash, the US gives you better value per bite. Now, here's what no one tells you can make the same salary in both countries and take home totally different amounts. In the US, taxes vary by state. Florida, no income tax. California, one of the highest. In Canada, you pay more both federally and provincially, but you also get more free healthcare, better parental leave, more social support. So if you're a high income earner, the US gives you more take home pay. But if you're earning average or below, Canada might actually feel easier to live in. Here's the mindset shift. It's not just about what you make, it's about what you keep and what you get back. So, Canada versus USA, who wins? The US gives you lower prices, faster service, more hustle. Canada gives you fewer surprises, more support, and a better safety net. If you're young, healthy, and chasing opportunity, the US can stretch your dollar. But if you want stability, security, and peace of mind, Canada might be the smarter long game. Let me know which one you'd pick in the comments. And don't forget, every week, we post new deep dives just like this. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one.